Hey everyone out there, it's Rick here at Zedsphere. I hope you're well. I wanted to make a quick video just to give you some of the feedback that we picked up from the State of the Industry survey that I published on Friday last week. So for week one, we actually had a really great response. We had 145 MSPs come back and let us know how they're faring as we head into the back end of the first week of isolation. For the COVID-19 crisis. So I'm just going to share my screen here and take you through these results. And there's a couple of ways in which we might be able to help out as well, and I wanted to tell you about those. So here we go. Okay, so just jumping into this, the first question that we asked was, how busy have you been this week compared to last week? And the quite surprising thing was that despite the huge demand that there was for people needing assistance with remote working, actually 40% of the industry has already seen a downturn, either a slight downturn or a big downturn in their level of business for last week. And it's going to be really interesting this week to see just how they've fared as we go through this week, and we'll be asking the same question at the end of this week. So some really interesting feedback there. There's not too many surprises here on this one. You know, what have your customers needed from you the most this week? And the resounding feedback with 82% was setting up remote working, and not really much else. So I think, you know, there's some concern in the industry around what's going to happen once this hump is kind of like flattened out in terms of people needing to be set up to be working from home. What's the business as usual situation going to be with that, and what are MSPs going to be needed to do? And so some of the other things that we asked about here were, you know, are you being asked about cybersecurity or access to hardware, or is it just business as usual? And really, those were kind of like quite negligible responses. In addition to that, there's no word cloud here. Yeah, just home working and stuff like that. Okay. So, are your customers requesting services additional to your regular packages as a result of coronavirus? It was a bit of an even split. But if we just move on here, this is a word cloud that kind of shows what people were asking for in addition to the regular services. Obviously, remote access was key. VPN was a massive one. Laptops and quite a big uptake in people needing things like Office 365 and G Suite and that kind of stuff. So that's really interesting. VPN and you know, secure home working was by far the biggest response that we got there. So we've just got something to follow up with that on later on that we might be able to help out with. In terms of actual placing staff on furlough, it's still only just short of 17% of IT providers that have placed staff on furlough, which is reassuring, yet 40% of the industry has seen a downturn in their level of busyness. So it'll be really interesting at the end of this week to see, you know, what's going on, what is the trend, and to find out whether MSPs and IT providers are placing staff on furlough and taking advantage of that government scheme. So this is what people are asking for in terms of advice that they would find useful to help you and your customers during the coronavirus crisis. The winner here was actually information on ways to diversify your business. So this is clearly something that's high on the priority list for IT providers. I mean, I think that this is something that we see anyway in regular business as usual practice, that IT providers are always trying to find a way to diversify the service. But I think now more than ever, anything that IT providers can do to add more value is going to be of real importance. People were really keen to see what's going on with other IT providers, and this green bar up here was about staff productivity tools with remote working. So obviously that had a lot of relevance in the last week as well. This one was a really interesting one. It was actually a question around how concerned business leaders feel about the security of their business. And the resounding answer was that despite IT services being kind of like an essential requirement to keep businesses going, 47% do feel like this is going to have a negative effect on business. And I was talking to a particular MSP who said, that they're particularly concerned that, lots of their customers are going to have to furlough lots of their staff, which in turn is going to really, really reduce the user count for IT services. And I think that's one of the key concerns at the moment. 23% said they think they're going to grow as a result. 22% said they don't think it'll have an effect. It'll just kind of like be business as usual. And we have quite a worried 7% down here that actually think that this could close their business down. So hopefully that figure will reduce and stay low. In terms of what's actually on people's minds when it comes to coronavirus, I think the number one issue was cash liquidity for customers, and customers not actually being able to pay IT providers for their services, which is a totally understandable and reasonable concern to have. Beyond that, there was a worry that the fact that the economy is not as stimulated as it should be, that there will be a shortage of incoming new leads, that new business is not buoyant. People weren't particularly worried about staff having to be on furlough. Certainly I know a couple of MSPs that staff have got symptoms and are working from home anyway, but are still able to contribute to the business. And only 5% were worried that they won't be able to keep up with demand. Some of the other stuff in here, some minor responses around general uncertainty, keeping customers happy with reactive work rather than proactive planning, so just kind of like being on the back foot. This one was quite a good response. Depends on the timeline. Option A is a short term, then option D. So, first problem is customers can't pay, then option D is we haven't got any business to kind of keep us going. And that was a quick, it was only an 8-question survey. If you feel like there's any questions that you would like me to add to this, then please do. We do want to keep it quick. I am going to issue this survey every Friday and produce the results every Tuesday on our coronavirus crisis page on the Zedsphere website. Two of the key things that came out of this were access to technology for things like VPN and secure remote working. The creation of the stimulus of business and creation of leads out the back end of this crisis. So there's a couple of things that I wanted to mention to you. The first one is that here at Zedsphere, we do actually vet technologies to make sure that they're compliant for MSPs. Over the weekend, I've spoken to the guys at Perimeter 81, which is what you might call a next generation, fully software-defined VPN, or as they call it, network, Zero Trust Network as a Service. This is a very nice, slick solution that has been built for MSPs. If you're not already aware of it, I would recommend taking a quick look. We can offer a demo, and we've made a partnership with Perimeter 81 so that they will help with full guided onboarding as a matter of priority for Zedsphere partners. So there will be a link on this page, on this blog page, for you to go and check that out if you think that's something that might be useful for you. And also something that we can do to help with the creation of leads for MSPs. Some of you might be aware that just recently this year, I've actually created a website service called IT Provider Hub. This is a directory website where MSPs can list themselves based upon their technical competencies and skills and their geographical location, so that end user customers can come and find them. So what we've decided to do is we've decided to waive all fees for MSPs for at least the next 3 months for IT Provider Hub, so that MSPs can get listed on here. And I'm sure that if we go down to one of these profiles, you can see the kind of stuff that end user customers can check out. This is Nick from Grace Solutions. This is basically just a really simple way for end users to come and see what you specialize in as a technical service, where you are in the world, a really easy way to get hold of you, and also put a face to the business. I can see here the guys from Grace Solutions have put the team on there, as well as some team photographs and stuff, and you can see the map to show where they are. You can click directly through to the website. And customers can also post a job. End users, if they need something in particular, they can also post a job with budgets and time delivery frames and stuff like that. This is normally a paid service. We're going to waive all fees for this for the next 3 months for all IT service providers. So you can just all jump on here and get listed. Now, in addition to this, there's not much point in being listed on a website if there isn't any traffic that's really going to it. So what I've decided to do is I've decided to create the IT Services Emergency Growth Initiative, and I'm launching a GoFundMe page. And I'm encouraging everybody in the industry, whether it's IT providers, vendors, distributors, or individuals, just to make a donation for what they feel they can afford, whether it's 10 quid or, perhaps some of our vendors might like to donate a little bit more than that. We will use this money to purely to drive paid advertising traffic to IT Provider Hub. So this program will work in 2 phases. The phase 1 will be to get all MSPs listed on IT Provider Hub, and then drive as much traffic by end users to IT Provider Hub as possible, so that our MSP community can have, fingers crossed, an influx of leads to help them through a more difficult period of time. And we'll publish that link on this page as well. So I hope that was useful, guys. Thank you for completing that survey. 145 respondents on the first survey was a really good result. Look out for the survey this coming Friday, and please do complete it and share it with your network. Okay, guys, I hope you're all safe and well, and that you stay that way, and look after each other, and no doubt we'll catch up with you soon. Bye for now.